Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I wanted to jump on here live real quick before I play this interview. This is a 6-part interview with Larry Mazza. It's pretty in-depth. He explains a lot of things. As we get deeper into the interview, there's a lot of things that he hasn't told before. I have a lot of great interviews on the way. There's another one dropping tonight at 11 o'clock with James Fusco about union corruption. You guys don't want to miss that one. And then I have a whole slew lineup on the way this weekend and this coming week. But if you want to see exclusive content before anyone else, like part 2 of this one. So this is part 1. If you want to see part 2 now, just go over and join the membership. It's going to be on the regular tier for the membership, and you'll be able to see these interviews first. So the lineup I have coming is James Fusco. I got a new Larry Mazza dropping. I got a new John Greshner interview dropping. I have the American Pink Panther, Punch. He's an exclusive interview. You guys don't want to miss that. How you doing, Kelly? Maureen, how are you? The Bronx, what's going on? We got a lot of people in the house. It's starting to build up. I appreciate all you guys checking out my show. I have former 1%er, Mooch. Did another interview with him. It's more intricate, involved into the things that he's saying in this interview. It's really, really good stuff. Got a new one with Frank DiMatteo coming up. There's new Anthony Ramundi. If you guys like Anthony Ramundi and his crazy stories, you're going to love these interviews. It's on the membership right now if you want to check it out. And I got Stevie Bullets on the way. So there's a whole lineup of new exclusive content you can't get anywhere else. Tommy, how are you? Great Jedi. What's good? You got great content, Bill. Keep up the good work. Definitely. So, I drop interviews at nighttime and I do live shows pretty much every day. So just go check out the interviews I got and you guys will love this content. I'm telling you, I have so much to bring you guys. I wish I could just drop it all now and you guys could see it all like right now. But, I got to give it to you. I got to spread it out through time, There's a new one with JC from Wrong to Strong going to be dropping. Shout out to JC. I have so much content. Without any further ado, let's get into the content. Hit the like button. And I'll see you guys after. Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Larry Mazza. What's up, Larry?
How you doing, Billy? Good to be back.
I'm doing great. People love the interviews that we do, and they love the information that they're getting, and they keep asking for me to get you back on. So here you are.
Well, I'll come on for you just about any time as long as I'm home and I got a little downtime. I've been busy, which is good. So, but no, thanks again for asking.
Yeah, no doubt. So last time I
want to thank the people that went out of their way to say they enjoyed the show and would like to see me again. I got to really thank them a lot too. I don't want to be, I don't want to miss that. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I get a lot of comments. A lot of people enjoy the information that you share. They know that you're a wealth of information. You've been through a lot of things in your life. And last time we were talking, you were saying you're going to tell me about a tax thing, something with the taxes and Greg. You said it was a real interesting story.
Well, it was two. There's two stories now that you say that. All right, but Greg Jr. had taxed the drug dealers. That's one time I used the word tax, street tax. He put a tax on all drug dealers. I don't think you're talking about that. But the story I think you're talking about was Big Greg. What happened when I was away, it all came out that he was an informant for 30 years. Okay, that's what the word was back in the 90s when I was facing, the sentence and everything, and life in prison and all of that. So as a couple of months went by, they're jockeying us around, who's in Otisville, who's here, who's up, they move you around. They try to keep everybody apart and keep separations. Anyway, I wind up on the floor with Alley Boy after it came out that Greg was bad. There's a lot that happened in between. If I try to go, I'll just confuse people. So now I'm on the floor with Alley Boy, and he tells me that, and I'm reeling from just hearing this news about Greg. I mean, it's a surreal situation. I can't believe that the guy that brought me into this life, molded me, made me to be what I was supposed to be, and I think I followed the footsteps the right way, is a government informer. I mean, how would you feel? Your heart's pulled out. Your life's over. And like Carmine says to the consul, had flipped first. He set everybody up earlier on. So I already knew this was not the life that everybody thought it was. Then I hear about Greg. After almost fighting for him a few days earlier, with some like Vicarina for one, who was claiming that Greg sounds like he may be a rat. Nothing came out official. So I was I went after him and had people get in between us, whatever. So now I wind up on the floor with Alley Boy. It's out, and we're talking. And through the conversation, he tells me him and his father knew about Greg for 20 years. He was bad for 30. So when he said that, my first reaction was, wow, if he knew and his father knew, who else knew? Did Scappy know? Did Jerry Lang know? Don the boss? Did all the other official captains know? And if so, why did they allow it? I mean, I don't understand. That's the first thing that came to me. You knew? And when he said it to me, he knew he made a mistake. He probably should have blurted that out. Because look, the position I'm in, here I am. He's my mentor. Now you knew, your father knew. He knew he made a mistake.
Yeah.
So what happened years later, when I'm probably in prison writing my book, towards the tail end of my sentence, or even when I got home, because it really was through an attorney that I found out this story. There was a big tax case. Heavyweights from the early 70s, maybe late 60s. So that's Junior Persico, Big Alley Persico, one of the Fuscos, Andrew Russo, Greg Scarpa, Scappy, 2 or 3 more. There was 8 guys on the case. They go in front of the judge with their lawyers, and they get what do you call it when you get it pushed over? I forget the word. For 8 weeks.
It's like a execution.
There's a word for it. A court word for it. An extension. So they put it on hold, and we'll come back in 8 weeks. So at this first meeting, all 8 were there. Let's just say 8 weeks later, they all come back. Greg isn't there. So they have to cancel it again and set it up for another 6 to 8 weeks. 6 to 8 weeks goes by. They all come in again. Greg's not there. They have to do it again. This is the 3rd time they're getting an extension. And they do. Another 6 to 8 weeks. This time they come back. Greg's not there. The judge throws out the case.
It was a big case, right? It was huge.
They were all going to do 15 years for tax. And back before RICO, that was the killer, the tax evasion. So, and it was the timing was right, because if he was bad for 30 years, when that tax case came up, it was just about in the early 70s, which would have made it perfect timing for Ali to tell me they knew for 20 years. He must have done something behind the scenes. However he explained it away. Maybe he had a corrupt person. Maybe he had to pay him, but they knew from that minute that he had help. And if he if they knew at that moment he's got to go, that he was able to stop the case. No, it's hard for me to say because I don't know if it's any of us with that. There's no way.
Yeah.
But I think what happened, because they saved him, and they probably said, well, he didn't hurt any of us. He didn't hurt any of us. Plus, he's an enormous earner, and he earns for them for the next 20 years, and he killed for them. They knew when they had, and I use the term a precarious hit. There's hits when you bring the guy in the basement, and he doesn't know what's happening, or you're driving and you pull over, he doesn't know what's happening. Those are the easy ones because, you could set them up properly. But the ones that were tough, like the kid we had a hit on 86th Street that was threatening Teddy Persico. Okay, right in the middle of broad daylight on 86th Street, cops all around, cops on horses. I don't know if you're familiar with 86th Street in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Okay, back in the day, it was like out of a movie. Kids cruising around, people dancing on the corners, one group listening to this music, another group, just who's smoking pot, who's whatever. It's just one big party on 86th Street.
It's like the main drag.
Yeah.
The main drag.
Well, here's what we used to do. We would take 86th Street in our car, when we were kids, take it to Kings Highway, come back around Sheepshead Bay, through Avenue, and just keep making the loop with all the hangouts, where all the girls were going to be. So it was a very tough hit to do. We did it. Greg came to the scene to help us out. Then the girl that got killed, Big Allie's girlfriend, why did they do it themselves?
Mary Berry, right?
Yeah. Greg had to do it. So anytime there was like something like that, and then during the war, who was the hero? Greg. He was the one out there in harm's way every day, driving up and down the street. And me and Jimmy were the two assholes that were loyal and stood with him every step of the way. But
one of the reasons why you maybe were believing him is, walk me through that day that the guy called him a rat inside the club, because that would make me think he's not a rat. Kill this guy in front of me.
There's nothing really there's nothing to walk through. The guy came in that day just like any other day. He made sure that we were all in the back to watch that. Whoever was there, me, Carmine, Gregory, Bobby Zim. I remember those because I had to walk afterwards and get a carpet with Bobby after he got rolled up in the carpet, the guy, and buy a new carpet for the floor. And the funny part is, the only thing everybody remembers about that day is we found out Bobby Zim was colorblind. He bought a color orange that didn't match anything. He thought it was brown. And what am I going to say? He likes the rug biter. I don't care. So anyway, no. You see, if there's a rule, if a guy calls you a rat, you got the right to shoot him right on the spot. Nobody's going to question it, but but if he has paperwork on you, that's different, So that's why Greg asked him that day, you got any papers to prove this? You made a comment that I was a rat? The guy backed off first. No, Greg, I was drunk. It was stupid talk. Nobody meant it. You know better than that. He was scared. He knew he made a mistake. But he asked him, Greg, do you have any paperwork? Anything to prove?
How did he say it? How did he say it to Greg? What did he say?
He didn't say it to his face. Greg heard through somebody else that somebody was out in a bar and they were talking about it, and he called him a rat. So it got back to Greg. And
so Greg calls him out on it.
Well, no, he comes every day to drop off numbers in business. He was one of our workers. So the first thing Greg did was take the money from him, take the numbers, put them in the drawer, and then he asked him, what is this I hear? I'm a rat. The guy knew exactly immediately what he was talking about. And that's when he said, no, Greg, I didn't mean anything like it. Just, how it is. Guy's talking and it gets stupid. He says, so you got no paperwork or anything like that, right? He says, no. Greg reached in the drawer, came out with the gun just like that. And that's not a gun, it's keys. So don't get me arrested. Yeah. And he shot him right across the desk and hit him. So no.
Did he shoot him in the face?
Right
in the middle.
And the other thing is, other guys in the family, when they would get an inkling that there's got to be something wrong, he'd go kill 4 guys. And then the rest of the family would say, well, he can't be a rat. He's this much of a murderer, you
Yeah.
know. But a lot of times he would call up and blame somebody else. I found that out later on too. So, maybe some people in the government actually believed him that it wasn't him, it was somebody else in the family. And that's part of the reason he never took an official captain spot. I think he would have had to relinquish his, what do you call it, confidential informant status,
You
because
would have
now,
put a bigger target on him,
well, he's
right?
a managerial role now. Okay. It's one thing to do a hit in their eyes. Okay, but then at the end of the day, everybody's in the conspiracy. Even if you brought the shovel, like I said, you're in the conspiracy. But I think it was uh, more that, how do you put it? Uh, that ordering a hit in their eyes is the worst thing in the world. So if you're ordering the hit, I guess they can't have you be one of their informants. And again, I don't know if that's the exact rule they have, but I believe in my heart that's the only reason he never took a captain spot. He would have had to give that up.
So when you're first hanging around with Greg, right? What's the first sign of violence towards someone or the first murder that you witness?
Well, the first sign of violence is little things like beatings. I mean, where a guy comes in that owes money and we got to go to work on him. The first one I watched most of it, I was just there. I was a kid. First time I saw something like that. And then along the way, other guys would be brought in that owed money and you'd see them get bounced around the walls. And then eventually, little by little, I got part of it. I had to start proving myself. I was in business. I was starting to be looked up to as his right hand man, or his nephew, his most trusted guy alongside of Gregory. And, so I had to start. I couldn't just sit there and watch. You're in
Yeah.
there. And don't forget, I was still with Linda. And I didn't want her to think I was inferior to any of these guys. It became a pride thing too at that young age. That peer pressure, like anything else.
Yeah.
So it was, and then again, it does become almost second nature. It's like we're beating a guy up that screwed us, or broke a rule or did the wrong thing. So you feel like you're doing a man's thing, like this. We're keeping order, you know. And that was the first hit I saw firsthand.
You-
That's how
When
early.
he called him a rat.
Yeah, the other one.
Now, what are you thinking when that happens? Are you shocked? Are you like, holy
Of
shit?
course,
I don't want to
listen,
be a part of this.
even the seasoned guys, like Carmine, like ran out of the room. I mean, he backed off and got out of the room. It's not fun, nice to look at to see the guy's brains literally, hit the wall. I think some of them splashed on Carmine. That's why he ran out. And it's Carmine says it, a future consul. Yeah, Gregory. I mean, Bobby. We were all just shocked. But what are you going to say? What are you going to do? Again, it's a test. These are tests sometimes too. Uh, So, then later on, you're asked to do little things. We talked about that all the time. I don't, need to go through that again, but you start doing a little something, then little by little. And again, it's never, what they say in the movie, you're going to have to kill your best friend. It's unnecessary. There's no reason for anybody to ever come to me and say, you got to kill Jimmy. First of all, if you're a true friend and you're loyal, you're going to pull that guy's coattail. You're going to let him know. You're going to have him take off or leave or say, if you can't save him, I'm not going to go kill my best friend. And later on in life, when we were now more than just kids hanging around, when we moved up that ladder a little bit, you're going to tell me to kill my best friend? You're going to have to kill me too. You know that.
Yeah.
Because there's a good chance there's going to be big retaliation, So it all depends. There's a lot of, I talk to people about this all the time. It's sometimes at a speech that I'm doing, or even if I'm meeting up with old friends from the old days, we run into each other, or some guys are back talking again. I mean, that's human nature. Uh, you think about what's the word, timing. There's a lot of timing involved in this life. If certain things happen when you're a young kid just hanging around, it's different than if something happens halfway up that ladder. And then it's a little different if now you're pretty much high at the top of that ladder, not alongside of Greg, but getting closer to him. Now you have to act a whole different way around people, you know, and also getting made, getting up to captain, getting getting maybe lucky enough to grab a piece of a business. It's all timing. There's guys that became captains that were not ready, maybe would have never been captains, except for the fact that their main guy just went to prison. So they made him an acting captain. If that guy don't go to prison, you're still a soldier. And again, I'm not saying it's for everybody, but there are guys that it happens to. There's guys that got straightened out in prison. I'm not saying they don't deserve to be recognized if they truly got spoken to that day. That's all it is. I mean, it's not, everybody says it's a big ceremony. Yeah, it is. It's nice to go through that, but we couldn't do the whole ceremony. We couldn't prick the finger because of AIDS. In the bathroom.
Yeah, what was your ceremony like?
In the bathroom, in the jail, you can't. I mean, you probably could prick the finger. What are you going to use? A plastic butter knife? You're going to burn saints. You can't do that. When a guy gets up from good fella to captain, there's no magic wand that comes out and a big ceremony. We don't put on our black suit and anoint him with holy water. You have a witness. You have another good fella there, and the captain who's passing it along. And that's what happened with Greg Jr. Greg Jr. became a captain. His father was the witness. Came back in. He introduced us all to our new captain. Later on, at the ceremony, after mine, Greg was made an official skipper for a reason. Actually, it happened first. I reversed that. They made him a skipper at the earlier meeting just because when Jimmy and I were going to get our button, we would be put with a captain. And if Greg isn't a captain, officially, they got to move me to a captain. So
they can move you out of the crew to a different crew. It happens
all the time. It happens all the time. Carmine Persico went with Vic Arena. Billy, Joe Sapp or Johnny Sapp, I forget which one, went on the Wild Bill. Who else? Who else was the Bobby Zan? He went with Vic Arena. That's where they put him. Yeah. Then Vic was smart. He made them both captains real quick because he knew what he was going to be doing down the road, and having some of Greg's guys there would have been, good. But anyway, so now after that, and Greg would have never let it happen because he wasn't going to lose me and Jimmy. At that point, we were the only two he trusted. I mean, 100%. There was other guys, but he said, I'm never going anywhere without you two by your side. It was, he knew we wouldn't turn on him, and he was right.